Hello everyone and welcome to UK Foundations. I'm Uthara Adithi and today we'll be solving the short question and answers of life processes. Let's begin with the 36th question. The process in plants that links light energy with chemical energy. So the process that takes place in the plants means itself we'll get to know that it is the photosynthesis process. Next, organisms that can prepare their own food. Okay, this is the key, their own food, right? So if they are able to prepare their own food, then they are called as the autotrophs. So we are very much aware about these kind of organisms, right? Either it should be autotrophs or heterotrophs. Autotrophs are those that can prepare their own food, while heterotrophs cannot prepare their own food, like humans and etc. Right? Moving on. The cell organelle where photosynthesis occurs. The cell organelle means it is the chloroplast. In the chloroplast, the cell which is the cell organelle, the photosynthesis occurs. Okay. Cells that surround a stomatal pore. Okay. The cells that is surrounding the stomatal pore are called guard cells. So the guard cells are the reason why there'll be opening and the closing of the stomatal pore as well. Next, organisms that cannot prepare their own food. Yes, so B and E are like the two definitions of types of organisms. B is autotrophs, E is heterotrophs. An enzyme secreted from gastric glands in stomach that acts on proteins. See, note the point. If they tell gastric glands in stomach which is acting on the proteins, then it will be pepsin. So here the answer is pepsin. But what if they give pancreas? If they tell pancreas, then the answer will be trypsin. Okay, so there are two types of enzymes that can act on our proteins. One is pepsin, the other is trypsin. I know this handwriting is really bad, but I hope I can convey the thing. Pepsin and trypsin. Pepsin is present in the stomach, trypsin is present in the pancreas. They are kind of synonymous, right? They work for the same purpose and they are rhyming. You can remember like that. Pepsin, trypsin, both acts on proteins. Okay? So that's about this main. Next. 37. All plants give out oxygen during the day and carbon dioxide during the night. Do you agree with the statement? Is it correct? So you can approach this question in two ways. One reason you can tell that this, in both the reasons the statement is wrong. Okay, so the first opposition that you can give is that plants also respire. Okay, the process of respiration also takes place in the plants. So in that case, what happens is the plants will absorb oxygen just like us, and they'll give out carbon dioxide. Okay, so that will also happen. The reverse can also happen. That is one definition that you can give. The other is that in the case of desert plants that is specially mentioned in your NCERT, they will absorb carbon dioxide during the night. Okay, so the reverse, they absorb carbon dioxide during the night, they prepare an intermediate, and in the day the energy from the sun is acted upon it. So you can give these two examples as well, like they have given carbon dioxide during night, right? So you can give this explanation as well. Okay, next next question. How do guard cells regulate opening and closing of the stomatal pores? So I have a picture for that. Let's look into that one. So this is a picture that we are having. So the opening and the closing of the stomatal pore. Isn't it a nice picture? Right. So here you have your guard cells. So this and this are the guard cells. You'll have the subsidiary cells as well. So what happens is here the pore is open, right? The reason for it to be opened is the water from outside will enter into this pore. Okay. When the water will enter inside, it will become turgid, or you can tell it will swell open. So when they open, the pore will become open. While in this case, the water which is there inside will just flow out. Simple. So that time what will happen is it's gonna shrink, right? It's so the term used here is flaccid. Here it's turgid. Here it is flaccid. Okay. Oh, it's flaccid. Okay, so in this case here the stomatal pore is closed. So this is the opening and the closing of the stomatal pores. You can put it in your own words, the explanation for this, if you understand the concept. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Okay, this is done. This is also done. Yes. Two green plants are kept separately in oxygen-free containers, one in the dark, and other in continuous light. Okay, which one will live longer? The question is which one will live longer. So I think it's an easy question because for the plants to survive, they have to undergo photosynthesis. Basically, like just like us, we need food, right? We need continuous supply of food so that we stay alive. Likely for the green plants that synthesize their own food, the process of photosynthesis takes place only in the case of continuous light. Okay. Right, so in the other case what will happen is here the plant will not get any supply of light and it's gonna die. That's the result. Okay, so yeah, that is about that question. Next, 39 is done. 40. If a plant is releasing carbon dioxide and taking in oxygen during the day, does it mean there is no photosynthesis occurring? Justify your answer. Actually, what happens is if the plant is releasing carbon dioxide, which is not expected, usually it's not expected, and taking in oxygen, does it mean that photosynthesis is not occurring? Actually, it is wrong. This process which is taking place here is called as respiration. Again, the plants will respire. So this doesn't have to do anything with the photosynthesis because they are two different terms. So it doesn't mean like if photosynthesis is taking place then respiration won't. It's just not relevant like that. Okay. Next question. Why do fishes die when taken out of water? This is also a simple question because fishes will breathe or will respire with the oxygen dissolved in water. Okay, they'll breathe in dissolved oxygen, but while taken out, no such medium is there, right? They don't have dissolved oxygen. There is lack of dissolved oxygen, so the fishes will die. Simple. 41st one is also done. Next one. Differentiate between an autotroph and a heterotroph. This is very easy. There are two different types of organisms. In the case of autotroph, auto means self, right? So these organisms can prepare their own food. So the example is plants, green plants and blue-green algae. So that's the example. And in the case of heterotrophs, these organisms will depend on the autotrophs, or you can tell they just can't prepare their own food. So you can give example as human beings, and you can give lice, right? You can give these examples, deer, tiger, most of them are heterotrophs. So that is the example. And extra point you can add that autotrophs prepare their food through photosynthesis, while heterotrophs don't have any such kind of processes to prepare their own food. So 42 is done. 43. Is nutrition a necessity for an organism? Discuss. This is a very basic question. Nutrition is definitely absolutely necessary for us, because what happens is they are the ones that supply energy to any other process, any life process or anything. If you just want to stand up or sit down or do any activity, you need energy. So that energy is provided with the help of nutrition. Right? So yeah. Next. Right. What would happen if green plants disappear from Earth? So it is a concept, you have to think about it, right? What will affect? It's firstly going to affect the heterotrophs, because the producer are itself missing, they are absent. Then there is no food supply to the heterotrophs, and you can include the our environment chapter points as well. The food chain will get disturbed, right? By removing any organism from a particular trophic level, it's gonna disturb the entire food chain. You can give those explanations as well. And also you can give that green plants are the only organisms that can species that can prepare their own food, right? So if they disappear, everybody is going to get affected from it. Next, leaves of a healthy potted plant were coated with Vaseline. Ooh, will this plant remain healthy for long? So this is a question. What happens is, if the Vaseline covers the leaves, okay, if it is covering the leaves, let's draw the picture. So the main thing that is present on a leaf is, on the surface of a leaf, is the stomatal pore. So if you're covering with Vaseline, the main thing that is going to get affected is the stomatal pore. Let's assume That is the stomatal pore. This is a good picture. Okay, so if we cover it, the stomatal pore is gonna get blocked. So this will prevent like the exchange of gases, transpiration, any process. So this is going to affect the plant, and if it is for a large lasting time, then it will die, the plant will die. So healthy for long means no, it won't be healthy for a long time. So yeah, this question is done. Okay, next, how does aerobic respiration differ from anaerobic respiration? Okay, so this is an easy one. Aerobic respiration is the respiration in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic is in the absence of oxygen. So you can give different examples, right? Aerobic respiration in the mitochondria, while in anaerobic respiration, the cramps that we get, muscles, lactic acid production and energy, that you can explain, and fermentation, yeast, and all of that. Okay. Aerobic respiration is more efficient because it produces energy. Okay, in the case of aerobic, energy is produced in a larger amount. Even in the case of humans, large amount of energy requirements will be there. So that is all satisfied because of the aerobic respiration. In the anaerobic respiration, not much energy supplement is seen. Okay, and aerobic respiration you can see in the case of animals and plants, human beings, you can give examples. While anaerobic is mostly like predominantly seen in the case of unicellular organisms. Okay, so that is also done. So moving on, hope I'm not going fast, it's easy, right? So yeah, 47th question, match the words of column A with that of column B. This is a nice question. Okay, phloem is the one, it's a part of the vascular bundle which will help in the transport of food, right, in the case of plants. So is it related to excretion, translocation of food, clotting of blood, or deoxygenated blood? It is translocation of food, so it's second one, translocation of food. Nephrons are like the part of excretion, so it's one. Veins, yes, veins carry the deoxygenated blood for sure, except for one, which is the pulmonary vein, and all of that will come. Actually that will be like veins carry blood away from the heart, right? But pulmonary vein is the only one that carry blood to the heart, exception. And also pulmonary vein carries the oxygenated blood, but almost on an overall basis you can give it as a deoxygenated blood. Platelets help in the clotting of blood, so it's 3. Okay, so this is done. We'll take a better color. Differentiate between an artery and a vein. You'll get many points in this case, differentiating artery and a vein. In the case of artery, they carry oxygenated blood, correct? They carry oxygenated blood. You can give exception, which is the pulmonary artery. Again, vein carries deoxygenated blood, exception is pulmonary vein. And arteries are thick walled and they are elastic in nature, while veins are not that thick. Reasons also, because in artery blood flows at a high pressure, because they are oxygenated and they are coming from the heart. They flow at a high pressure, so they are thick walled and they are elastic. While in the case of veins, they are not thick walled, but they contain valves. 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 Right. So they contain. Anyways, they contain valves, which basically prevents the backflow of blood. So this is, you can add these points. And just like the valve, if you know, then the valve between the right atrium and the right ventricle is called as a tricuspid valve, and that in the case of left atrium and the left ventricle is a bicuspid valve. These valves are also to prevent the backflow of blood. Okay, next, so what are the adaptations of leaf for photosynthesis? What are the different steps, like prerequisites done by the leaf for photosynthesis is the question. So let's look on to that. What happens is, firstly, the surface of the leaf will become more broad, like they'll flatten much more, so that most of the surface of the leaf is like is exposed to the surroundings. That is the first thing. Secondly, the chlorophyll will be there in the surface of the leaves, so they are going to trap the sunlight and all of that. They are the cell organelles and all of that, chloroplast and all. Next, and then there are stomatas, right? The opening of stomata, so that there will be exchange of gases, transpiration will take place, and all of those things will occur. So these are the things that you can expect. So next, this is done, this is also done. Next, why is small intestine in herbivores longer than in carnivores? So this is given as a point in the textbook, but the reason we'll see. What is it? In the case of herbivores and carnivores, what is the difference? In the case of herbivores, they take in leaves, or they take in grass and all these green plants directly. Carnivores feed on flesh and meat and all of those. So this is the difference in those cases, in the both cases. So the point is, in the case of green plants, we will find cellulose. Okay, we'll find cellulose. So the digestion of cellulose takes a long time. It's a long process, okay, because it's very hard for it to get digested. So in the case of the herbivores, the small intestine will be longer, so that the proper digestion takes place. In the case of carnivores that feed on meat and flesh and all, it's easy to digest. So it will be shorter in the case of carnivores. And yeah, that's the thing. Next, 51st one. What will happen if mucus is not secreted by the gastric glands? If the mucus is absent in the case of gastric glands, if it isn't secreted, then what are the issues? Firstly, what is the function of mucus? What is the function? In our stomach, we have HCl, right? In our stomach, we have HCl. So, what is the use of HCl? It will promote the use of pepsin, and also it will kill the bacteria. And also there is possibility that HCl damages the inner walls of the stomach. So to prevent that, right, to prevent any kind of hurt or any kind of damage to the stomach, we have mucus. The inner wall is lined with mucus. But if it is absent, again, this will not take place, and then acidity will come. You'll get kind of stomach pains and all of that will take place. Okay, and yeah, so the movement of food will not be proper. You will have some irritations in your stomach, and all of these can be expected. Simple question. Next, what is the significance of emulsification of fats? Emulsification. What is, first of all, emulsification of fats? Emulsification is basically the breakdown of large fat globules into smaller globules, so that like the action of other enzymes or biocatalysts can be more efficient. Okay, so what is the significance? Yes, it is the same. It will help in the breakdown. And which does the emulsification of fat? It is the bile, right? The bile juice will help in the emulsification of the fat. Bile also makes it alkaline, makes the food alkaline. That is also a function of it. Yeah. Okay. What causes movement of food inside the alimentary canal? This is like a one word answer. It is called as the peristalsis. Peristalsis. This is the E. Peristalsis. Okay, the peristaltic movements take place. Basically, it's like it's gonna push the food down. The alimentary canal will just move. They are going to push the food down into the stomach, and yeah, that movement is called as a peristaltic movement or peristalsis. Next, why does absorption of digested food occur mainly in small intestine? Why is it mainly in the small intestine? And also complete digestion takes place in the small intestine. Why is it like that? Because in the case of small intestine, you can give many points here. Firstly, they have many of the intestinal juices are secreted in that. Okay, there is action of even the pancreatic juices and the liver juices and all of that, bile juice and all. And intestinal juices also act on the food. Along with that, you can explain the function of villi. Villi are finger-like projections which are present in the inner walls of small intestine. They have large surface area and are richly supplied with blood vessels. So these are all the reasons why the absorption is mainly occurring in the small intestine and at a larger pace. You can explain about the villi and the microvilli. Okay. Next, 55. Match group A with group B. Autotrophic nutrition. Okay, the mode of autotrophic nutrition. Is it seen in leech, paramecium, deer, green plant? No doubt green plant, it's 4. Okay, and heterotrophic nutrition means dependent on any other organism. Is it leech, is it paramecium, is it deer? It's deer, right? So have you seen in the case of Discovery channels, all the deer feeding on green plants? If not, also you're aware about the thing. So that's the thing. Parasitic mode of nutrition and digestion in food vacuoles. Okay, so where does the parasitic mode of nutrition is observed in the case of leash? Okay, so what is parasitic mode of nutrition? Like the organism grows on another organism, and without killing it, it will just take out all the nutrition present and all of that. Okay, so you can mark 1 here. And digestion in food vacuoles is seen in the case of paramecium. It's 2. 4312. Okay, so this question is done. Next one. Okay, why is the rate of breathing in aquatic organisms much faster than that of the terrestrial organisms? This is an important question. Why is it much faster? It is faster because aquatic organisms have to breathe in dissolved oxygen. Oxygen that they breathe is dissolved in water. But in the case of terrestrial organism, they are going to breathe the oxygen present in air. But what is the difficulty in this? The difficulty is that in the case of dissolved oxygen, the quantity is much lower than that of present in the air. So the rate of breathing is much faster so that they can fulfill their energy requirements as soon as possible. So the rate of breathing in the aquatic organism is much faster than of the terrestrial organisms. Okay, so 56 is done. Okay. Why is blood circulation in human heart called double circulation? Why is it called as double circulation is the point. Okay, so this is a simple question, right? So let's just draw the picture, the diagram of heart, rough diagram of heart. This looks like an ice cream cone. Okay, this is just a rough diagram. This is a very rough diagram. Okay, so what happens is, why is blood circulation in human heart called double circulation? The point is that let's label it also. Right atrium, left atrium, left ventricle, right atrium, right ventricle. So here the blood enters the heart through left atrium and it goes through left ventricle and it goes to different parts of the body. Then the blood again comes back to the right atrium, goes into the right ventricle and is gone back to the lungs. Is a simple explanation of the point. So here can you note something? The arrows are going twice into the heart. Yes, that's a simple definition that you can give, that it is a double circulation. The blood is entering twice into the heart. It's entering and leaving. So yeah, okay, so this is the reason why it's called as double circulation. So it is done. Next, what is the advantage of having 4-chambered heart? What are the different advantages? Okay, this is also a good question. What are the advantages for having 4-chambered heart? First advantage is that it will prevent the mixing of the blood. Okay, you will get a clear-cut division between the chambers. Here in the middle, what is that called as? The separation between the left side of the heart and right side. If you remember, what is that? What is it called? It's called a septum. Right, it is called a septum. So this is a division. The point is that it will separate the mixing of the blood and the efficiency of heart will be more. Okay, and what is the point of differentiating the oxygenated and the deoxygenated blood? There's a question, I guess, about that also. The point is that human beings are warm-blooded animals. Okay, we don't depend on the surroundings for the temperature of our body. So they are the food suppliers, they are called as producers. So if to meet this kind of energy requirements in order to maintain our temperature, because what is the point is, if we go to some cold region, if we were a cold blooded animal, then our body would automatically get cold and the blood would the temperature would reduce drastically, etc. But it is not happening like that. So this is because we are warm blooded animals. So to meet such energy requirements, there are huge energy requirements. You need to separate the oxygenated and the deoxygenated blood. So you'll have many advantages of that. Okay, so that is about the 58th question. Okay guys, so I think we'll complete it now by this question itself. I hope the class was very interactive, and definitely spread the key of success, spread knowledge. Thank you.